The year was 2340. Humanity had spread its wings across the solar system, settling on the Moon and Mars, with dozens of space stations scattered throughout the asteroid belt. 2 centuries of war, strife, and environmental disaster had finally forced Earth's nations to unite under a single banner, the United Earth Federation. Commander Aurora Miller stood on the Lunar Command Center's observation deck, gazing at the distant blue marble that was humanity's birthplace. Beside her stood President Nam Vu, the Federation's first leader from what was once Vietnam. "Commander, our deep space arrays have detected something unusual approaching from the edge of the Oort cloud," said Lieutenant Sarah Wong from her sensor station. "Define unusual, Lieutenant," Aurora replied, her brow furrowing. "Sir, it's a fleet. 20 vessels, each larger than any of our carriers, approaching at unprecedented speeds." The room fell silent. Aurora exchanged a troubled glance with President Vu. They'd been preparing for this possibility since the discovery of faster-than-light travel signatures 18 months ago, but theoretical preparation paled in comparison to the reality now bearing down on them. The Galactic Council, as they called themselves, appeared on every screen across Earth's networks 3 hours later. Elder Richter, a being of crystalline features and unblinking blue eyes, delivered their ultimatum in perfectly accented English. "Primitives of Sol 3, your species has drawn our attention. Join the Galactic Council as protectorates or face annihilation. You have 30 Earth rotations to decide." Ambassador Mary Rossi watched the broadcast from the Diplomatic Center in New Geneva. "Well, that was certainly direct," she muttered to her aide, James Kowalski. "No foreplay. No, we come in peace, just straight to the threats." The next few days saw Earth's population gripped by fear and uncertainty. Protests erupted in major cities, with some calling for immediate surrender, while others demanded defiance. In the underground laboratories beneath CERN, Dr. Ling Wen worked tirelessly on Project Phoenix, humanity's secret weapon development program that had been theorized but never funded until now. Aurora convened her War Council. General Hassan Ahmed of the Mars Defense Force, Admiral Yuki Tanaka of the Asteroid Belt Fleet, and Dr. David Okafor, the Federation's leading theoretical physicist. "The Council's technology surpasses ours," Okafor began, projecting holographic schematics of the alien vessels. "However, their designs suggest an empire that hasn't innovated in millennia. They rely on overwhelming force rather than adaptation." "Which means," Aurora prompted, "which means they're not expecting us to have any tricks up our sleeves. Their ships are essentially mobile fortresses, powerful but inflexible." Ambassador Rossi returned from her initial diplomatic meeting with a grim report. "They're not interested in negotiation. They view us as children playing with dangerous toys." Elder Richter made it clear, submit or be eliminated. But humans, having survived countless crises on their homeworld, were nothing if not resourceful. President Vu authorized the conversion of civilian infrastructure for military purposes. Factories that once produced consumer goods now churn out weapon components. Mining vessels were retrofitted with experimental quantum shields developed by Dr. Nguyen's team. On day 7, the Council demonstrated their power by obliterating a remote observation station in the Kuiper Belt. The message was clear: we can reach you anywhere in this system. Yet as the 13th day dawned, something unexpected happened. A coded transmission arrived from a source claiming to be the Zorthian Resistance, a species that had been enslaved by the Council for centuries. "Your defiance has not gone unnoticed," the message read. "The Council's foundation cracks. Many conscript species serve them only through fear. Your stand could inspire rebellion across the galaxy." Ambassador Rossi advocated for caution, but Aurora saw an opportunity. "Even if it's a trap, it tells us the Council isn't as monolithic as they want us to believe." Dr. Nguyen made a breakthrough on day 15. "The quantum shields can disrupt their power matrices," she explained excitedly to Aurora. "Their ships use a form of dark energy manipulation that becomes unstable when exposed to quantum interference." On day 20, the Council sent Elder Vexner as an emissary. The meeting took place aboard the neutral ground of the International Space Station. Captain Marcus Reynolds, the station's commander, noticed something telling. Vexner's translator occasionally glitched, revealing confusion and even fear in its voice modulations. "Your people cling to a foolish hope," Vexner declared. "The Council has dominated this galaxy for 10,000 years. What can one species, barely capable of interplanetary travel, hope to achieve?" Ambassador Rossi smiled wintily. "Perhaps you misunderstand us. We're not asking to fight the entire Council. We're asking not to be conquered. There's a difference." The translator's glitch grew more pronounced. On day 25, orbital defense platforms came online, equipped with Nguyen's quantum disruption arrays. The Federation military worked around the clock, integrating recovered technology from the obliterated observation post with their own innovations. Commander Aurora Miller broadcast a message that reached beyond Earth. "To all beings under the shadow of the Council, we refuse. Not out of foolish pride, but because freedom is worth defending. Stand with us or stand aside, but know that humanity will not kneel." The Galactic Council received intelligence reports they couldn't comprehend. Humans were not just preparing defenses, they were innovating at an impossible rate. Elder Richter convened an emergency session. "These primitives adapt faster than predicted," reported Elder Kethix, the Council's military commander. "Their communications suggest they're reaching out to our subject species, spreading seditious messages of resistance." "Then we crush them utterly," Richter decreed. "Launch the Third Fleet." Day 30 arrived with the Council's armada, emerging from quantum space at the edge of the solar system. Aurora stood on the bridge of the UEFS Defiance, humanity's first true battle cruiser, hastily assembled from parts of 3 former colony ships. "All stations ready, Commander," reported Executive Officer Chun-Li. "Remember our strategy. We're not trying to win a firefight. We're buying time for the quantum disruption network to activate," Aurora reminded her crew. The battle began near Jupiter's orbit, where humanity had laid their trap. The Council's massive dreadnoughts advanced in formation, confident in their superiority. Aurora's fleet, comprised of repurposed civilian vessels, retreated in apparent panic. "They're taking the bait," Tactical Officer Rachel Goldberg announced. The Council fleet pursued aggressively, pushing deeper into the solar system. As they crossed the asteroid belt, hidden defense satellites came alive. Quantum disruption pulses lanced out, causing energy cascades within the alien vessels. Elder Richter's flagship shuddered violently. "Status report," he demanded. "Our power cores are fluctuating. The primitives have discovered a weakness in our energy matrices." On Earth, people watched in amazement as the tide of battle shifted. Ships that had seemed invincible minutes before now struggled to maintain formation. The Federation military pressed their advantage, using hit-and-run tactics suited for their smaller, more maneuverable vessels. Dr. Nguyen's innovation proved devastating. One by one, Council vessels found their weapons systems offline, their shields collapsing. But Aurora knew this was just the beginning. "Open a channel to Elder Richter," she commanded. The crystalline face appeared on the bridge's main screen, now showing cracks of uncertainty. "Your technology fails you," Aurora stated simply. "You've grown complacent in your dominance. We offer you a choice: withdraw and negotiate as equals, or continue this fight and risk destruction." Richter's response crackled with static. "You dare threaten the Council? We dare to defend ourselves. The question is, do you dare to test us further?" The Council's internal communications became a battlefield of their own. Elder Vexner, witnessing the battle unfold, saw opportunity in defeat. "Fellow elders, perhaps we have misjudged these humans. Their rapid adaptation suggests potential value as partners rather than subjects." Richter, sensing his authority crumbling, made a desperate gambit. "All ships, concentrate fire on the third planet. If we cannot have them as subjects, we'll have them as dust." Captain Reynolds aboard the ISS intercepted the command and relayed it instantly. "Aurora, they're targeting Earth directly." The moment of truth had arrived. Aurora faced a critical decision: annihilate the enemy fleet or divert resources to protect Earth. She chose the third option: all quantum arrays, emergency activation, create a resonance cascade throughout their entire fleet. It was a gamble that paid off. The quantum disruption network overloaded, causing a chain reaction that disabled every Council ship simultaneously. The massive vessels hung motionless in space, their power cores neutralized. In the sudden silence that followed, Ambassador Rossi hailed the Council fleet. "This is the United Earth Federation. We are broadcasting on all frequencies. To the crews of the Galactic Council vessels, we offer sanctuary to those seeking asylum from their current leadership. Your ships are disabled, not destroyed. You have time to consider your options." The effect was immediate. Messages poured in from various Council ships, crews seeking assurance that humanity's offer was genuine. More importantly, transmissions arrived from the Zorthian resistance and other subject species, emboldened by Earth's victory. 3 days of tense negotiations followed. Elder Vexner emerged as the voice of reason within the Council, advocating for a new approach. The age of conquest is ending. These humans have shown us that adaptation and innovation surpass brute force. Not all elders agreed. Richter, desperate to salvage his reputation, attempted to commandeer one of the disabled dreadnoughts for a suicide attack on Earth. His own crew, inspired by the messages of freedom they'd been monitoring, mutinied and confined him to quarters. The Accords of Soul, as they came to be known, established a framework for peaceful coexistence. The Galactic Council transformed, shedding its imperial ambitions to become a cooperative federation. Earth, far from being destroyed or conquered, became a bridge between the old guard and the emerging free species. Commander Aurora Miller stood once again on the lunar observation deck, but this time surrounded by representatives of a dozen different species. The Zorthians had shared their biotechnology, the Kree their crystalline computing systems, and dozens of others contributed to a grand exchange of knowledge. "Who would have thought," mused Ambassador Rossi, "that our obstinacy would reshape galactic politics?" President Vu joined them, a smile playing on his lips. "They threatened us, expecting fear. Instead, they got human stubbornness seasoned with ingenuity." Dr. Nguyen's quantum technology had not only saved Earth, but revolutionized galactic science. Her laboratories became centers of collaborative research, where former enemies worked side by side. 6 months after the standoff, the solar system hosted the first truly representative galactic assembly. Former Elder Vexner, now simply Vexner, addressed the gathering. For millennia, the Council ruled through fear. We believed that power meant domination. The humans of Earth taught us that true strength lies in the courage to stand firm while extending the hand of friendship. They faced annihilation, yet chose to preserve life whenever possible. This is the legacy we must carry forward. But challenges remained. Hardliners within the former Council plotted revenge. Unknown threats lurked in unexplored reaches of the galaxy. Aurora knew that humanity's journey was just beginning. In her office, she reviewed reports from exploration vessels pushed to integrate Council FTL technology with human quantum drives. The possibilities seemed endless. "Commander," Lieutenant Wong interrupted her thoughts. "We're receiving a distress call from Kepler 47. A Council remnant force has taken control of the system." Aurora smiled grimly. "Just when you think you can take a vacation, prepare the Defiance and alert our Zorthian allies. It seems our reputation precedes us." As Earth's newly formed quick response fleet mobilized, Aurora reflected on how much had changed. Humanity had not merely survived its first contact with galactic civilization. It had forced that civilization to evolve. The Galactic Council had started by threatening humans, expecting capitulation. Instead, they encountered a species that responded to threats not with fear, but with determination, innovation, and ultimately, compassion. In failing to crush humanity, they had awakened to the possibility of a better way forward. The cosmos had grown a little smaller, a little more connected. And somewhere in deep space, Other threatening powers watched and wondered, what manner of species were these humans who turned their would-be conquerors into allies? Aurora knew the answer. Humans were survivors, innovators, and above all, beings who understood that true power lay not in domination, but in the courage to forge new paths forward. The Galactic Council had learned this lesson the hard way, but they had learned it. As the Defiance and its escort ships jumped to quantum speed, Aurora whispered a promise to the stars. Whoever comes next, know this, we'll never stop standing up for what's right, and we'll never stop believing in a better tomorrow. The age of cosmic tyranny was ending. A new era of cooperation and shared purpose had begun, forged in the crucible of humanity's refusal to surrender its sovereignty. The galaxy would never be the same. And Earth, the small blue planet that had once seemed so isolated, now stood at the crossroads of galactic civilization, ready to face whatever challenges lay ahead with the same spirit that had earned them the respect of former enemies and the admiration of newfound friends. The Galactic Council had threatened humanity, expecting them to care about the threat. Instead, they had encountered a species that cared more about principle than fear, more about innovation than surrender, and most importantly, more about the future than the present danger. In the end, it was the Council that had been transformed, learning that true power comes not from the ability to destroy, but from the wisdom to build something better. And it was humanity's refusal to care about threats that had opened the door to a new age of galactic harmony. As the stars wheeled overhead, a new chapter in cosmic history had begun, written not in the language of domination, but in the universal code of courage, determination, and hope for a shared tomorrow.